Welcome back to the 69th annual NFL Mock Draft.
That's right. 3 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers. And we are pick number 7. And Hootie Who is on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome into the experience the basketball expert himself, the Wolves superfan, Maxo.
Hey!
Max Fuller, everybody. Hi, Maxo.
Maxo! What's good, y'all? Happy to be making the 7th overall pick for my Tennessee Titans. And something that me and my Tennessee Titans have in common, aside from a lifetime of mediocrity, is that we both have had a little too much fun with no protection.
Yes!
But unlike me, Planned Parenthood can't help the Titans, whose offensive line saw more sacks than Tommy Olsen last year. Their left tackles in particular gave up 29 sacks. And I think the AFC South is going to get triple X rated this season, and the Titans need to wrap it up and get some protection for Will Levis. So with the 7th overall pick, the Titans will take Joe Alt, Minnesota boy out of Notre Dame.
Love it.
Great pick.
What do you think of that?
Perfect pick. The Totino Grace kid goes here. You get the pedigree, right? Dad was a 14-year starter for the Chiefs in the Ring of Honor in Kansas City. You get the brother in the NHL. Footwork, the agility, balance. He's the best tackle in this draft. It's in a different year, Joe Alt would probably go higher than where he's going here, but just because of the freakish nature of these wide receivers and quarterbacks, he falls to 7. It's certainly a spot of team need for the Titans, and as I don't think Will Levis is really a good quarterback. I would consider quarterback here if I were the Titans, but Joe Alt is the favorite, and he makes a ton of sense in this spot.
Pick 8 is the Atlanta Falcons. And Mark Rosen, you once did a show called Under Center with Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is now in Atlanta. So you've probably talked to him. You know exactly who this pick is going to be.
I do 100%. We've had nothing but offense and quarterbacks and wide receivers off the board so far, which is that kind of a draft. But now it's time to turn to the defensive side of the football. And Atlanta got their QB. They got their running back. They got some decent wide receivers, but they don't have the defense that Raheem Morris wants. So I think, and it's a tough call because I know I got the Bears pick coming up next. Charge will weigh in on this, but I'm going to go because of this pedigree. The edge rusher from Alabama, Dallas Turner, 6'4", 250, monster off the edge. So I'm going to go with Dallas Turner to help Kirk Cousins get the ball back quicker than he was getting it back here in Minnesota.
Charge.
The Chicago defense got a lot better last year, but it still needs a lot of help. You could go offensive line with this selection as well and put Caleb Williams.
Falcons.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Dallas Turner makes a ton of sense. They don't need offense. They've got skilled position set, offensive line set, explosive. You get the great hands, super strong, anchor type guy, works with leverage really, really well. He's the highest pedigree edge rusher here. There are some people that like some of the others. Jared Verse better, Leatu Latu better, but Dallas Turner is to the Falcons is where he's almost every mock draft has him going here, and it makes a ton of sense.
Ben, you like Dallas Turner?
Yeah, I like Dallas Turner. I don't maybe love him at this high of a selection. I like Leatu Latu best, but it does again come down to what you're looking for. Latu is probably more of a he can be versatile with his hand on the ground or off the edge in a 2-point stance. I think Dallas Turner is more of a versatility guy, more of a true pass rushing guy that is going to be great as he can be an inside rusher from an off the ball linebacker standpoint. He can rush off the edge. I don't think he's as good against the run as Latu is, but again, it's if you just want a package guy, especially in year one, that can be.
Brilliant.
That can be sort of this pass rush specialist. I think that he's a good guy to select.
The NFL mock draft brought to you by Pep's Draft House Pizza continues. Back-to-back picks from Mark Rosen.
Yeah, the Bears are up next, and Caleb Williams, I know I heard him yesterday. He would love to have an offensive tackle to help protect him and guard his life. Well, I think the Bears management may have a different way of looking at it. I think they're also going to go defense. They have, again, another pick in this first round, and a guy I'd love to see the Vikings end up with, but probably not going to happen. Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle, the inside of that line that the Bears could use some help. A youthful movement for Chicago. So I'm going to go with the big man from Texas to help plug some big holes in the middle of that defensive line.
Byron Murphy is the best pass rushing defensive tackle in this draft. In fact, he led FBS in pass rush win rate last year. You get burst, you get power, tons of flexibility, just a freakish athlete. Byron Murphy's stock has only gone up over the last 5-6 weeks to the point where this is somebody that was originally thought to go in the 20s. Now I think this is about where he's going to go. So I like this pick, and it makes a ton of sense. They need D-tackle help for sure.
Ben, big fat guy or athletic?
More athletic. He's only 6 foot, and I think that's the one thing that
6 feet tall?
Yeah.
What's he weigh?
6 foot, 297.
That's a huge bitch.
Not really. No, like Church was saying, I mean, he is an awesome force from the inside, super quick. I mean, the concerns are just you're a 6 foot interior defensive lineman. Are you okay with maybe losing some battles in the run game, maybe not holding up for 4 quarters, being a 3-down guy? But if you want immediate pressure from the inside, this is your guy.
The New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps last year, Max, but you're making the selection right before the Vikings at pick 11. The Jets are on the clock at pick 10.
And the Jets season basically lasted 2 minutes last year. And look, we all know sometimes some magic can happen in 2 minutes, but that was not the case for the Jets. Some in New York want an offensive lineman. Some in the Big Apple want a wide receiver. So I think the Jets meet in the middle here and between Olivia Munn and Danica Patrick. Aaron Rodgers has shown a penchant for great tight ends off the field, but I think tonight the Jets get him an elite tight end on the field. And with the 10th overall pick, the New York Jets will select Brock Bowers out of Georgia.
Church.
The most polished, ready-to-play tight end since maybe Jeremy Shockey. I mean, this is... this feels like as much of a sure thing as you can get at tight end. And tight end used to be a position where you felt like you had to wait 3 or 4 years to really get that guy up to speed. What we saw last year suggests that is not the case with Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid. These guys can be immediate contributors, and it's certainly a position of need for the Jets.
All right, PA is entering the studio.
Here it comes,
We'll quickly recap the draft. I don't know if he's paying attention and listening or not. We're going to find out.
Yeah, here he comes.
He was okay. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Here comes Paul Allen.
That's okay.
He's
Recap
hovering.
it.
There he is.
There he is.
All right, PA.
The voice of the Minnesota Vikings enters the studio. And by the way, brought to you again by Pep's Draft House Pizza. And you can watch us at KFAN.com/watch right now to watch Paul Allen work his magic and tell you what might happen according to our draft and according to real life. I should say, PA, welcome to the show.
Here's PA. Ben, your hands up.
I'll give PA a few seconds here to get situated as he looks over the selections and what he has available. I actually 100% disagree with the Jets not taking a quarterback the way this thing has fallen.
Really?
Why that Aaron Rodgers is on a 1-year rental. He is not coming back next year. Do not care what happens. He is not coming back. Too much of a distraction. Age is always, this is going to be his last year in the NFL. Why not secure the future with the young quarterback that everybody's coveted in J.J. McCarthy if he's still on the board? I think it is the perfect situation to learn from Aaron Rodgers as a 21-year-old quarterback to sit and wait a year, learn the system, and then you've got your quarterback for the future.
Can I just weigh in for a guy that knows what it feels like?
In this draft, he is.
Well, in this draft, he is, but in real life, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, you're right, but... Adding another quarterback to the quarterback room with Aaron Rodgers will do wonders for the chemistry.
But the thing is, this is not the Aaron Rodgers that you dealt with in Green Bay. This is Aaron Rodgers
is still there, and he wants to win a Super Bowl, and he'd love to have Brock Bowers on his team.
He's not a stupid guy. He understands the lot in his life. He knows that this is his last year. He's coming off an Achilles injury. He's not playing another year beyond this. He's one and done.
But he doesn't care about the Jets' future. He wants to win this season.
Yeah, but the Jets aren't going to start.
They're not going to listen.
They're not going to start JJ over him. He knows it's still his team.
Ben, it might be common sense to take a quarterback of the future, but Rodgers did his own research, and he thinks that tight end makes more sense. Ben, we can argue about that forever, but look, it comes down to this. It's pick 11. Paul Allen is here. He's the voice of the Vikings IPA.
Here it is. Season's on the line. Let's play.
We need 2 things, of course. We need... We need what the Vikings would do in this exact scenario. I'll go through them in a second. And then we need your just general take on what their plan is for 11. But here's a quick recap. The Bears took Caleb Williams. The Commanders took Jaden Daniels. The Patriots at 3 take Drake May. Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. Chargers at 5 take Malik Neighbors. Giants at 6, Roma Dunze. Titans at 7, Joe Alt. Falcons at 8, Dallas Turner. Bears at 9, Byron Murphy. Jets at 10, Brock Bowers. If it falls like that tonight, what do the Vikings do at 11?
If it falls like that, then I ran into somebody yesterday who either heard Paul Charchian say something or he saw it on Twitter about, and it's quite crafty too, that the first Vikings pick would be a cornerback at like 11-1. Does 11-1 sound right, Charch?
Yeah, that's about right.
Right. So, therefore, I believe Terry and Arnold of Alabama would very much be in play here. Cornerback Terry and Arnold, I think, would be in play as the way it has fallen at that stage.
Even with JJ,
even with McCarthy on the board.
No, my bad.
Right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I thought there was going to be like a pregnant pause.
No, I'm sorry. I'm so wound up thinking the Giants are taking J.J. McCarthy at 6. So therefore, I assumed he was at 6. I missed the
He's still on the board.
Doomsday steam. So yeah, J.J. McCarthy would be the pick.
It would be J.J., okay.
I'd bet a fair amount on that.
All right, but what do you think's really going to happen?
I'm starting to hear from some people that I respect that aren't necessarily in the state but work in the game that there's a lot of media creation with J.J. McCarthy in the top 10.
Yep.
And I intimated that earlier in the week, 9 to noon, that J.J. McCarthy's the one who I think is sliding a little bit in the estimation of some people with whom I chat. Doesn't mean that he will slide past 11. But I'm heading into the draft show tonight with Nacho and Bursich and Charge, just waiting for a trade with the New England Patriots for Drake May. And there are things that I believe Kevin O'Connell likes about Drake May that I haven't shared 9 to noon, and I will share if they do take him. So I've been sitting back on that, just waiting for the opportunity for the team to get up and get Drake May at pick number 3.
But think about the two things you just said. The equity you have to give up to get to 3 to get May,
right.
Or the potential of McCarthy falling at 11. Everything we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 months is how, man, it would be awesome to get your hands on Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. That completely changes if one of them you have to give up the house for, and the other one is just call his name.
Right.
That's a huge difference. You better be right.
Yeah, right. And again, I'm not trying to be Mel Kiper here or Todd McShay. I just don't watch enough of it. I rely on people like Lieber and other people around the league. They just kind of get me set up the right way and have over the years. As my discernment goes, I love J.J. McCarthy. I love everything about him. And I love the like the clay that can be molded behind the scenes with the fiery nature of the guy with the good arm, and the hockey background may be trite to some, but I mean, this is a very, very tough kid. Now, when you say give up the metaphorical farm, I would assume that you're saying 3 first-round picks. Okay, because and again, when it comes to the what you give and what extra you give, I mean that's I'm out on that. I just don't know how that exactly works personally. If the New England Patriots are offered 3 first-round picks, 11, 23, and next year, their new head coach is a defensive-minded guy. They need help all over, and they need help on defense, like Charch said, needs all. Mayo wants at least one defensive guy out of this first round. And as many have said, up to like say 11, a lot of offensive players are going to be taken. I mean, simply look at the Power Trip mock draft. So there are prime defensive players to be had there. They know that. I don't think they mind that, but I would say to Elliott Wolf, it's 3 first-round picks and that's it. I mean, there ain't no extra third. There ain't no 20. No, that's it, bro. I mean, if you want 3 first-round picks, which is a hell of a haul, then that's it. And if they say no, and I think they'd be stupid to say no, quite honestly, because I don't think they're going to use Drake May out of the gate either. Then you maneuver from 11, like Bosberg said, from Field Yates, I believe it is from ESPN. I believe that. I believe a trade up to 7 or 8 for J.J. McCarthy could be in play. But Drake May at 3, that's the A topic heading into the draft this evening. But J.J. McCarthy's most likely going to go in the top 10. So, with all due respect to the Power Trip mock draft, if he did, I mean, I really like him 6 to the Giants. Then Terry and Arnold, the corner from Alabama, would pay Charch's guy.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we go commercial-free the rest of the way. Commercial-free rest of the way after this, and we'll get all the way through pick 23, just in case the Vikings end up staying at pick 23. More of the Power Trip Mock Draft after this on the Fan.
Welcome back to the 69th Annual NFL Mock Draft.
That's right. Brought to you by our friends at Pep's Draft House Pizza. The experts have assembled. We've been through the first 11 picks, Corey, and it's gotten hot and heavy in here.
Yeah, we got to kind of get moving a little bit because, look, everyone assumes the Vikings will not have pick 23 today, but you never know.
We got to get there.
Maybe weird things happen. Who knows? So in our mock draft, though, PA would have selected J.J. McCarthy, number 11.
Yeah.
But now we're at pick 12, and my guess is the Denver Broncos are pissed. Dave Sinekin is here. Hi, Dave. You are picking 12 for Denver.
Yeah, we're pissed that we're on the clock right now. We thought we had a deal with Philly at 22 to move down. Philly wanted our pick to grab a corner. The Steelers have been all over us to move up to 12. We can't believe those deals fell through, and we're sitting here on the clock. We have needs across the board, but we don't have a second-round pick, so we would love to move down here. It didn't happen. We could use an edge rusher like Latu. We could use a cornerback like Quinyon Mitchell. We could use a tackle like Penn State's Fasciano. In fact, George Payton has those three's name on the board, and he's trying to pick between the three. But wait, Sean Payton just burst through the door and said, hold on a second. We got Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, and Ben DiNucci, and I'm not getting any younger. I need some help, and it's way too early, and we'd rather draft him at 20 or 22, but we're stuck at 12. We will take the quarterback, Bo Nix, who looks a little like Tony Romo. That's who he's comped to, who went to Eastern Illinois like Sean Payton. He's got a little Drew Brees in him, that he's not a big arm. He likes to throw the ball around. He's been around college forever, obviously, 2 schools. He's polished. He's got a lot of talent. We think Sean Payton can mold him into our next franchise quarterback. We understand it's too early. We'd rather take him in the bottom of the first round, but here we are at 12. We need our guy. We're taking Bo Nix.
Oh, Ben, was he not a redshirt freshman when you started at K-State?
With the way the board is shaped up, I would have looked at Michael Penix before Bo Nix. Look, the thing is, I think Bo's been getting not a lot of credit, a little bit of hate that they think that he's just a system guy. But what he showed at Oregon is what he can do as far as mobility, athleticism. I think that he does a great job of throwing off platform on the run. He's got a good enough arm. He doesn't have a cannon, but I probably like Bo Nix more than most people like him, but in this scenario, I would have taken Michael Penix.
All right. The 13th selection, our favorite town on the planet, Las Vegas, Nevada, the Raiders and Eric Nordquist.
Hey, welcome back. Okay.
Hi, Nordo.
So excited for this because we think that the Broncos reached a little bit with Bo Nix. And they had to. They couldn't trade back. You heard all that mumbo jumbo. The Raiders are running to take Michael Penix Jr., 13th overall. Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, who cares? Thayer Munford is one of their offensive line. Who the hell's that guy? But they're going southpaw in Michael Penix Jr. at 13.
Thank you, Nordo.
George? It's a move the Raiders almost have to make. This is the prototypical desperate for a quarterback, reaching for a guy that has no business being selected at this stage of the draft. Not only is he not the best player available at pick number 13, Michael Penix is probably the 14th or 15th best player available at this stage of the draft. But the Raiders are stuck at quarterback, and I can understand the selection, but don't love it here. I got a lot of problems with Michael Penix's game. I don't like the mechanics. I don't like the happy feet. I hate his accuracy outside of the pocket. He drops down to a 43% completion rate outside of the pocket. That kid's a project, and I don't love him at 13, but I can understand why Nordo made the selection for the Raiders because they don't have a quarterback.
Can we just quickly go around the room? I know we got to keep pace here to get to 23, but let's just quickly go around the room. If at some point tonight the Vikings call the name Bo Nix or Michael Penix, whether it's at 11, 23, or whatever, but in the first round, one of those two guys is the guy. I just want to hear, I'm thrilled, I'm disappointed, or I'm somewhere in the middle. Greg, Penix and Nix.
I like Penix. I don't like Nix, but I wouldn't take either one of them at 11.
Ben.
Well, yeah, if we're talking about 11.
Or 23, just in
or
general.
23. I mean, if we walk away from the first round with one of these guys, let's say 23, I would prefer Penix over Nix, but I think Nix in the right system can be a decent player.
Rosie, Penix and Nix.
Well, and you said it best. It's the right system. Can Kevin O'Connell bring the best out of Bo Nix? I mean, you saw him play enough, but I think Michael Penix has that electric sort of feel to him that he could add a lot to Justin Jefferson and the assortment of weapons the Vikings have. And I think from the Viking fan base, it would be deeply disappointed if Nix ends up on this team and not Michael Penix if it came down to those two.
Max?
Bo Nix, I am going to grab a bottle of Hennessy and start drinking. If it's Michael Penix, I'll grab a bottle of champagne and pop a bottle.
Sauce, yes or no?
I would be pissed if it was Bo Nix, and I think the fans would be mad. I would be fine with Michael Penix, but not at 11. You move back.
Dave, you're an Indiana guy.
I love Michael Penix. If the Vikes leave tonight with a cornerback at 11 and Penix at 23, I think they've had a home run. I think Penix is going to be one of the best 3 quarterbacks out of this draft.
Church?
Like everybody else, at 23, I'm fine with that. I prefer Penix over Nix, even though I just hammered Penix. I don't like him this early, but yeah, at 23, fine. We'll work with him.
All right on. All right, Greg Swedberg, pick 14, the New Orleans Saints.
Well, all the quarterbacks are gone, so that takes that off the equation. So they also need offensive line, and trying to figure out who's better between Olu Fashanu and J.C. Latham, I have no idea. They're both... They both look good to me, and they both look versatile and the kind of people that New Orleans would take. We just think the name Olu Fashanu is a cooler name, so we'll take Olu Fashanu at 14.
Good pick.
It is a good pick. He's a prototypical left tackle, very good in pass protection, quick. He can anchor a lot. Just you could watch his tape and just go, this is the technique of a guy that I want to build around. And if you were to just map out the frame of what you want for your left tackle, this is the guy, Olu Fashanu from Penn State. It makes sense. It's a team need, and they're not going to be able to help themselves a quarterback here.
If you're watching on KFAN.com/watch, Zach is panicking, Googling how to spell whatever name was just called.
Brilliant.
Pick 15 is the Colts. So they get Anthony Richardson back after, missing most of the season, but he looked pretty promising. Charts, you have pick 15.
I am Colts General Manager Chris Ballard. I am looking forward to a Hair Restoration Institute endorsement someday. Me too. My secondary is a wreck in no small part because at this time last year, my best cornerback got suspended for sports gambling. I need cornerbacks. I need safeties. There's no safety that should go here. And I've got every cornerback available to me. So I will take what I believe is the best cornerback in this draft, Terrion Arnold from Alabama. He plays the left side of the field, super versatile, really good against the run, high IQ guy, leader, ball control guy. He's a big hitter, super fluid. I think they go cornerback with this pick, and they've got their choice of all of them available. We're going to go Terrion Arnold here.
I want that guy on the Vikes so bad.
He's a great pick, Charge. That's a really good pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was... Kool-Aid McKinstry was the top corner when the season started, and Terrion Arnold beat him out of that job. Yeah. Terrion Arnold is a ball-hawking stud.
Pick 16 is the Seattle Seahawks and meet Sauce Paul Lambert.
This is an easy pick. Like Chart said about the Patriots, the Seahawks need every single defensive position except for corner because they've nailed that in the past drafts. This will be easy. We will run to the podium.
Take your time.
There will be no pandemonium. We love this pick. The Seattle Seahawks at pick 16 will take Jerzon Newton from Illinois, defensive tackle.
Wow.
It's the biggest need we have. We need a guy up the middle. It's that I think is a great pick.
He's a 3-technique pass rushing specialist as a defensive tackle. Lots of quickness and agility, lateral moves, a team leader as well. Not an anchor kind of guy. So I think he's going to be a pure 3-technique. But if you want to try to get pass pressure from the D tackle spot, Jerzon Newton makes a ton of sense here.
Love it.
Thanks, George.
And again, brought to you by our friends at Pep's Draft House Pizza. It's the NFL mock draft number 69 overall for your Power Trip Morning Show. On the clock is who, Corey?
Limp Bizkit's very own Jacksonville Jaguars. Pick 17 in Ben Lieber.
All right, so the Jags pretty much address their wide receiver need a little bit with Gabe Davis. They also have Zay Jones still on the roster and Christian Kirk. I don't think that they go wide receiver, even though they might think that they can go wide receiver and add some depth, but they need some cornerback help. And with Terrion Arnold gone, they're going to go with the Toledo Rocket and Quinyon Mitchell.
Insanely fast. He's like 4.2 something, right, Ben?
Yeah, I think, he ran 23.58 miles an hour on straight line speed.
Which is, that's Olympic track speed right there. 52 passes defended. So unlike a lot of the track star cornerbacks, this guy's got ball skills, which makes him really, really different. He's only allowed 50 yards in his coverage 2 times ever. Never had a penalty against him at Toledo. Quinion Mitchell makes a ton of sense.
Why
here
is
for
he not going higher then? Is it just needs of other teams? Is that the main reason he's not a top 10 kind of a guy?
Not a hitter, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing as Taron Arnold not going higher. I mean, I think it's his team need. I mean, they're both high end. I mean, Arnold's probably the best man coverage guy, and Mitchell's probably more of a zone cover guy, so it could come down to scheme. But I think just the way other team needs are, these guys kind of fall a little bit.
Sauce.
Quickly, this is more to PA's point with the Patriots is if you look at this draft and they want defense, there will be a ton of defensive players between 11 and 23. They will have a ton of picks if they take the Vikings picks. They can move all over the draft board and maybe get 2 defensive starters in this draft.
Pick 18 is the Cincinnati Bengals. There's trouble in paradise, Ben. Everybody wants out. A couple of people asked for trades yesterday. T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson. What do they do at 18 with trouble in paradise in Cincinnati?
Well, it's interesting because it really does change my perspective on what we should do. And I think that you can depart with a guy like T. Higgins if he's super unhappy. I think they're really going to miss a huge chunk of their defense and their team. I mean, Trey Hendrickson is a guy that is kind of the lifeblood and the heartbeat of that defense outside of Hubbard. So I'm going to hedge all of that, and I'm going to go with one of my favorite players, Leatu Latu, who's still on the board. Yeah. And you can now say, all right, let's see what we can get for Trey Hendrickson, even though he's got a couple years left on this deal, and we're going to go with the young stud out of UCLA.
Wow.
He's amazing. You watching his 129 pressures in his last 25 games. It was astounding. So many tackles for losses. He led college football for defensive ends in win rate percentage, pass rush win rate percentage, amazing hands, lateral movement. You'll see him move down the line of scrimmage often. Not a big body, so he can get bullied out of some plays, but if you want somebody who just brings blazing speed to your edge rush, Leatu Latu is your guy.
Can I say this, guys? If I would rather them not give away the farm and take Arnold and or Atu, and I don't want to reach for a quarterback and give away the farm. Do you know what I mean? Those 2 players are studs, man. Those guys we really could use some defense too. I don't know. Am I crazy about that?
No, you're not.
Not at all.
But they've painted themselves in a corner. That's the issue.
You can't do what the fans want. You got to do the right thing.
You can't, right, but you can't do what the fans want. But you also, though, you didn't get pick 23 to take 2 defensive players. You just didn't. They have that pick. You could, but plan A and B are to try and fire up the draft board to get a quarterback. Sure, 3 years from now, we'll go, man, those 3 defensive players were absolute studs. But at the moment they're drafted tonight, it is the wrong pick, if that makes any sense. Right? People will be pissed.
Well,
no, I know.
It's Kevin Seifert.
They need a
People
quarterback.
were pissed when they took Kevin Williams.
Sure.
Look how good Kevin Williams was.
Yeah, Kevin Williams is a monster.
People were pissed when they took Ben Lieber.
Well, yeah, we're still
we didn't
pissed
take
about
Ben
that.
Lieber.
He knew that. Hockey knew that.
But as Kevin Seifert just pointed out, the Vikings have drafted only 4 quarterbacks in the first round ever. This is a chance. This is why they got number 23 to parlay this into forgetting what it's going to cost. They've never drafted higher than number 11 overall. They haven't had a franchise quarterback since Fran Tarkenton. I know what you're saying, Chris. Many times I wish they could just take the 2 best available players and go with it. But they need a quarterback, period.
I'm telling you, they're going to. They just are.
Sauce, pick 19 in the Rams.
We wanted a lot. They need a defensive tackle. Aaron Donald left. They need some edge players, right? The Rams are one of the better teams drafting in the later rounds, right? The wide receiver they got last year, incredible. They got him in the 5th round, right? They're very good at doing that. We wanted Leatu Latu. UCLA to LA would not have been a bad drive. We wanted Jerzon Newton. He's gone. And we would have loved Byron Murphy Jr. But we'll sit at 19 and we'll take the Florida State defensive end, Jared Verse.
Anybody?
I think this is a very likely outcome. There's a small chance they go quarterback here and they start planning for the future at quarterback if they like Penix or Bo Nix and they want to build for future years after Matthew Stafford. But if they're going to address need now, defensive line is the right spot, and Jared Verse probably the best defensive lineman available right now. Versatile, makes big plays, lots of tackles for loss and sacks. Super productive, high effort and motor guy. Good against the run as well, which you don't always get. So I think this pick makes a ton of sense by
I think they're taking Michael Penix. I just do.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are pick 20, and that's Paul Charchian.
That is me. I am Steelers general manager Omar Khan. Hey. This offseason, I've gained quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Justin Fields basically for free. I've solved my quarterback problem at no cost.
Solved it? Seriously, that's ridiculous.
Well, at least short term, right? Yeah. You know, I've got a starter for this year, and maybe if Justin Fields works out, I've got him for years to come.
Gave nothing for him.
I need offensive line help. My team ranked 31st in pass blocking by Pro Football Focus. I've got to put my quarterbacks in a position where they can get more help than what they've been able to get to this point. So we're going to go offensive line here. We love the flexibility that we can get from a variety of different players, but we're going to go J.C. Latham here from Alabama. He's a right tackle who can play some guard. He's a pass protection bully, moves well, good hands, durable. It's not the most exciting pick in the world, but it's the pick that the Steelers need.
It's an excellent pick, Charch. He's a dynamite player. He's very good. The only issue he might have is a little bit of, as Tommy Boy once said, a little bit of a weight problem. But he is a mauler as a right tackle. He can play almost anywhere on the offensive line, maybe except for center. J.C. Latham is being mocked as high as the 5th overall pick.
He is the DraftKings favorite to go 5th at plus 275.
How about that?
Wow. Great pick, Charch. Great pick.
Ben doesn't have his headphones on. Ben, do you like this guy?
Yeah, I like him. I think they're also looking for maybe more of a true interior guy. You know, if the Jackson Powers guy was maybe a little higher in the draft, felt like they weren't stretching to get the offensive center, they could go that direction. But why not get this immense talent?
Pick 21 is the Miami Dolphins. Greg Swedberg.
The Steelers taking Latham makes it a little easier for the Dolphins. The Dolphins want a defensive tackle. There's no first rounders left there. There's only one first-round tight end, so they can't get that done. They need help all along the offensive line, and they can probably go interior and get a guy who's pretty versatile, so they'll take out of Washington the first guard, Troy Fatanu.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Troy Fatanu. Bye, Ben.
Gave a lot of thought to that in the previous pick for Pittsburgh because they need that's a team that needs guard help as well. He can play guard, center, and tackle. So you get all the flexibility, explosive, mobile, a lot of body control. Equally good as a pass blocker and a run blocker. Super athletic. I think that's a fantastic selection with at this spot of the draft.
All right, pick 22, the Philadelphia Eagles and Eric Nordquist.
Well, good morning and happy draft day. The Philadelphia Eagles, if you remember last year, everyone was ripping Sean Desai, the offensive coordinator. He was terrible. Well, they were still 7th in the NFL. The problem with the Eagles last year, they fired their coordinators. The defense was 30th in the NFL a year ago. So now they bring in Vic Fangio, new sheriff in town, to run the defense. They need help. They need playmakers. I'm going with one of the more versatile and interesting playmakers in this draft. His name is Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
And he's that defensive back out of Iowa. And the Eagles and Vic Fangio can't wait to make him their Swiss Army knife in 2024.
Good pick, Nordo. Very good pick.
Freak athlete, big hitter, love his tackling and finishing abilities. Super smooth as a cornerback. Huge toolkit. He's going to be great on special teams. Get this in my notes on Cooper DeJean. Yards after catch. He's the rare cornerback who's got so many ball skills, and he gets the ball in his hands so often he houses him for touchdowns. Yards after catch for Cooper DeJean. He's going to help this team lots of different ways, and the Eagles need help at cornerback. That's probably priority number 1 for them.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we're at pick 23.
It is time.
Paul Allen is back. 23 is the pick. Let's do the mock draft first. If it falls this way, hopefully you've been listening. Do you have a list in front of you?
Yes.
Pick 23 would go which direction?
If it falls this way, we got sniped badly by the Seattle Seahawks with Jerzon Newton. Then we would pivot to Duke offensive lineman Graham Barton. He's the most versatile offensive lineman in the draft in that he plays all the positions, and he would start at guard game 1.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, hold on.
More importantly, let me just ask you the conceptual question. Percent chance they even have pick 23 tonight?
I mean, that's such an impossible question to answer.
That's why I asked.
That's what he does.
I'm going to say that they have 23 this evening, 35%, less than 50%. Yeah, I think getting up to 3 is the A topic, and I'm hoping it happens.
What do you say the likelihood of that is? Getting to the 3rd overall pick.
35% the other way. Sauce math would mean 75%.
May I ask you also, Paul? Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So if they
like my guy,
I do very much. He's my favorite offensive lineman in the draft. I also like Jackson Powers Johnson.
Thank you.
Mason
McCormick, South Dakota State University.
Both those guys would be wonderful in the middle of the Vikings line. Let's just say, Paul, then so we pull it off. We move to number 3. Mm-hmm. What do the Vikings do for cornerback this year and defensive line and the rest of the offensive line? Are we just not going to play with those this year?
Well, I mean, it's look at what they did in free agency. Okay, so with Cashman, Grenard, Van Ginkel, and still the draft. All right, and then look at what they had last year, or what they didn't have, what they didn't get out of Dean Lowry, what they didn't get out of Marcus Davenport. Don't forget that with the way Flores does things, there were a handful of players who had the best seasons of their careers. So why can't that happen year 2 for players who have been in it, and year 1 with new players they get, free agents or whatever? So in Flores, I absolutely trust. The MO on him when he got here was that he takes middling and makes it good and makes it very good, and if you're very good, he can make you great. And we saw that for a large part of the season last year, not in the beginning, not in the end. But nevertheless, no, I think Flores has a handle on it. But I see what you're saying. Jerzon Newton would be unbelievable here at 23.
Paulie, I know you're working, and we appreciate you being on the Power Trip. Anytime you're ever on the Power Trip, but I got to ask you one more question. It's the Power Trip Mock Draft brought to you by Pep's Draft House Pizza.
Yeah.
Pep's Draft House Pizza.
What do you got?
I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to go very high. I think all this has been a subterfuge.
Maybe
Any
a little
chance
bit.
you agree with me?
Well, it's like I said earlier, is that, I've heard this week that of the quarterbacks, McCarthy is heading the wrong way and Penix Jr. is heading the right way. So Penix Jr. in the mid-teens, somewhere around there. That's what I'll have my radar on. My radar will be there this evening. And with McCarthy and with May, you in essence are investing in a stock. You're getting something that you feel fits what you do exactly, perfectly, and you are afforded the opportunity to wait for it. So that's why I think McCarthy will. I can't see McCarthy getting past Denver. So 12 is absolutely the ceiling for him in my estimation.
So you're a betting man. If you were a betting man and had to put one bet on tonight's draft, you're saying you would put the most money that they get their hands on Drake May.
Is it plus money? You asked the question.
Sure.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if I had $1,000 bankroll, so that $750 goes there. A trade at 7 or 8 for McCarthy gets the other $250, and then we meet the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC title game, and you're on your own after that.
Got it. So you believe we will have a Power Trip morning show tomorrow, 5:30 to 9, discussing a new quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been led to believe. But, Charch and a lot of others have laid it out very, very pragmatically. Is it takes the cliche 2 to tango, and I stick by what I said, is that if 3 first-round picks is not enough to get in that spot, screw you, man. I mean, that's a lot. You're not, whomever you take, you're not using. Whomever we take, we're not using this year. So if you really want to do that, and your new head coach, big-time defensive guy, if you really want to skip on these nice defensive players, then good luck.
What do you got 9 to noon to preview the draft?
Oh, we got a lot. It's NFL draft heavy today. It's not Wolves be damned. I'm really into that squad right now, but they play tomorrow night. So it's all NFL draft. Alan Roach, the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox, he does the draft. So he's in Detroit. He'll be on at 9:35, and Alec Lewis is in studio at 11 o'clock. And,
good.
Corey Chavis right out of the gate at 9.
Oh, good.
That's your voice, correct?
There we go.
This one?
No,
good.
that's Paul Charchian.
Brilliant.
Yeah. He's also the one that said they call him Puffy, multiple reasons.
All right, thanks, Dave.
See you. Good show.
Thank you, buddy.
Ooh.
All right, Dave, we might as well quickly ask you, Dave,
don't care.
What are the Packers going to do in the draft?
I'm so happy you asked, Corey. I think there's a non-zero chance they try to move into the mid-teens if a cornerback or their favorite tackle is still sitting there. Maybe a deal with Seattle, which doesn't have a 2, and Green Bay has 2 2s. But if they stay at 25, it's either a lineman or a cornerback like Cooper DeJean if he's there. I just posted my 7-round mock draft at zonecoverage.com. I've got the Packers taking the giant ball of clay Amarius Mims out of Alabama, who has a grand total of 8 starts, but is a mountain of a man, doesn't need to start right away. They need to address the offensive line. They've got their quarterback. They've got the skill position guys. They have to rebuild the line. They lost 3 guys, so I think Green Bay goes O-line with their first pick.
All right, round the room. Any final thoughts? Things you're looking forward to tonight? Things you want to see tonight? Sauce, this is your Christmas. Let's start with you.
I think what PA has said all along is exactly right. I think you are going to lean on the New England Patriots enough that maybe they just say, yes, we have a very bad roster. We want one of these defensive players. That is plan A. Plan B is to fire up at pick 6, 7, or 8 to get J.J. McCarthy. Then after that, if you take 2 defensive players, you have to remember, Vikings fans, they are getting 2 players in the top 25 of the NFL draft. So it's either quarterback, or 2 defensive players.
Can I just say something before everybody else goes around the room, though? If everything's that PA is saying is correct, and I believe that it is, right? That plan A is kind of Drake May, plan B is see if we can get our hands on McCarthy. Then if you can't find a trade partner and those 2 guys are off the board before 11, then by definition, if you take Bo Nix or Michael Penix, you're settling for somebody that you didn't want. Already, you're going, even if you like Penix or Nix, it's not the one you wanted. Right. Then it feels like Ponder 2.0. Son of a bitch.
But that's why they are going to sell out to get pick 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8.
Rosie.
Well, I believe, too, that from the time they acquired the 23rd overall pick, that their sole focus has been not just to get a quarterback, but to get Drake May. And as Sauce has said, I think in a perfect world, if the Wolves are still playing Phoenix next Tuesday night, Drake May will be introduced at Target Center, and the place will erupt. That's the perfect world. But we all know
there's not going to be a game 5.
There may not be. There's probably what's a better chance? The Wolves will sweep Phoenix, or Drake May will be a quarterback for the Vikings. I just think that they're bound and determined to get him, but they're not going to sell the farm. There's going to be a lot. I mean, all hell's going to break loose in those 10 minutes when Kwesi and other GMs are calling New England. And what is going to happen? The intrigue at U.S. Bank Stadium tonight is going to be off the charts. And if New England keeps that pick and takes Drake May, I think people are going to feel a little bit deflated. But then you got to kind of recover in a hurry and say, what's the best players available? Who are we going to get at 11-23?
Greg,
I hate giving up 2 drafts for something you're not 100% sure of. It drives me crazy. I mean, there's not real consensus that these guys are for sure going to be great. Having said that, I trust O'Connell enough, and this is O'Connell's draft. This is not Kwesi's draft. O'Connell's the one calling a shot as who the quarterback's going to be. If they have to give up 3 number 1s to get to number 3, I will just bite my tongue and live with it, because to me it's too much. But I wouldn't give up. I'm like PA. Don't give up more than 3 number 1s. That's too much. So if they walk away with May, this all depends. How much more do you like May than McCarthy?
A lot.
How much more than McCarthy do you like instead of Penix? It's really how many assets you're going to give up to get the guy you want. And to me, this is just like I got knots in my stomach because of this. This is the weirdest draft of all time.
But isn't it the most fun to care this much? I love it so much.
Charge, final touch. You just said May versus McCarthy. I heard you say a lot.
Yeah, there's a big difference between May and McCarthy, and there's a big difference between McCarthy and Penix. I don't think this team will move up to get McCarthy. I think the way he finds himself to the Vikings is if he slides to 11, which is a very real possibility. And what would really be stunning is if he was there at 11 and the Vikings passed on McCarthy.
Yeah, that would be
if you want best player available, it's not J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be a defender at that stage of the draft. And there are a lot of listeners who feel very strongly that, take the best player available. Always do that. And if that's the case, this team's going to go defense and defense with their 2 picks.
But you still, based on what you just said, it sounds like you still want them to target Drake May, and you think he's worth going up for.
If you can get Drake May, I'd do it, because I think Drake May's got the kinds of skills that you want in an NFL level.
Then you got to go get him.
But you got to have somebody to trade with. That's a problem.
That's the problem.
If I'm the Patriots, there isn't enough you can give to make me pass on Drake May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
To PA's point quickly, though, like he said, is you're going to offer them 3 first-round picks, and the players that they can get with those 11 and 23 will probably play. Drake May will sit on that roster because that roster is horse bleep. I'm just going to sit on that until I'm right. And I probably will be wrong because I'm always wrong. But New England is the worst roster in the last 25 years.
And Drake May, I think, would sit on the bench here until about halftime of game 1.
You are. See, I like when you put
that's
son of
my
a bitch
password
in
partner.
the game as quickly as possible.
Partner. Sam Darnold.
Yes.
Get Drake May in there.
Let's go.
We'll break it down tomorrow, 5:30 to 9. And also, by the way,
everybody.
tomorrow, the $64,000 question will be the jackpot. We're at $64K tomorrow.
Hell
for
yeah.
the St. Paul Federal Credit Union Initials jackpot. $64,000 on the line tomorrow at 8:15. We'll be draft heavy tomorrow as well. 9 to noon is next.
Everybody have a wonderful day.
You two have a